Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the conference as much as I am. I've met some great contacts, found some great insight, and I know this afternoon is just going to be as impactful as it has been this morning. My name is Lisa. I work for the manufacturing growth team, and I'm here today just to give you 7 very brief, quick tips on IR4 or Industrial Revolution 4. Now, in my experience over the last 12 months, there's a very, very mixed level of knowledge and information out there about IR4. Some firms are absolutely denying it, don't understand it. Others are charging ahead with great big budgets. So today, I'd like to share with you some of the common factors that all organisations, regardless of where they are on their journey, are actually going to help you move forward so that the Industrial Revolution doesn't pass you by and you end up way, way, way behind your competitors, not just here in the UK, but globally as well. So what is IR4? Well, first of all, I want to tell you it is not Y2K. This is not a big bang where the buttons all go switch, 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 and nothing happens. IR4 is here. IR4 is about changing in products, changing in processes, changing in the supply chain. It's all about data connectivity, real time, and how fast we are. It's where data is collected, it's analysed, but it starts to give us proper insight. As a nation, we're very good at collecting data, and some of us have massive, massive pools of data. But how we actually use that sometimes does actually pass us by. We can now have cyber networks. We've now got the cloud. It isn't a matter of just sticking together lots of pipes and cables. This is not an IT specialist role. This is not something for your IT department. There are far greater implications. So the first point I want to bring you to is actually leadership, believe it or not. This is where your organisations need a very, very clear direction. Now, if you yourself are not sure about IR4, sometimes that can actually come over to your workforce and they'll poo-poo it and they'll just shut down. I'll go on to some other points later on of how you can bring more out of your own workforce with that. It's a time for you to show excitement and not fear. Some of my clients actually say to me, well, you know, it's just going to cost us lots of money and we don't know, we haven't got IT specialists, we're going to have to buy it in, etc. Do you know something? If you don't know, just say so and start on your journey to understand what it actually means to you in your business. It is very unique to your business. This is not a one-size-fits-all. But the big part about it is being a leader is you need to learn to adapt. Now, I'm not saying you don't already, but the pace of change is gathering momentum. This is moving on. Some companies are grabbing hold of it and running, and the last thing you need to do as being leaders in this is actually lose momentum and actually start to fall back. It's not a time for complacency, far from it. Show some strength in that leadership. Right, okay, I need to get my head around this, and what does it mean for me? Big part of leadership is understanding how to actually manage the change in your businesses. We always say we're very good at change because we're in manufacturing, very typically we're firefighting, we're getting through, we're satisfying the customer. But actually understanding changes that are going on inside and outside of the business is something that sometimes we as leaders sort of drop back on. So key to the leadership tip number 1 is actually learn how to manage change, both in terms of your technology, but also in terms of your people as the changes affect your employees as well. Tip number 2, leading on very nicely from leadership, is actually make sure you have a very clear strategy. Now, most firms say, yeah, I've got a strategy, I know where I'm going. But you know what's really, really important in your strategy? Make sure you know the voice of your customer. And I don't just mean what they're nagging on the phone. And what I really, really mean is get under their skin. When they talk to you, listen between the lines. You're going to have a lot more insight on what they actually want and the predictability if you can get under their skin. Competition. In your strategy, make sure you have totally taken into account what the competition are doing. And I don't just mean price. The guys out there could be running ahead in terms of innovation, supply chain development, actual technology, what software they're buying. Sometimes you just don't know. So don't think of competition just as price, because it's not. What are they doing to take themselves ahead of the game? But absolutely importantly, on the clear strategy. Having a strategy is one thing, but please make sure you have an execution plan. How are you going to deliver it? It's all very well having that lovely document that you do at the beginning of the financial year, but you actually go back and look and say, well, actually, we are doing what we said we're going to do by the timetable, with the right people, we're doing the right checks at the right time, right people are responsible and accountable for it. Have an execution plan. Leading on from that again, tip 3 is develop a learning culture within your organisation. The days are gone where somebody goes to college, gets qualified, goes into work. We need again to adapt and learn to the change. We need to learn to reskill. We need to upskill. There's a lot of changes in technology. GCSEs now do coding. That used to be the remit of the absolute IT people, but it's not now. This is the normal workforce coming through. So it's really, really important that you manage your talent pool. What have you already got? How far can they go? And do you know something? Do we actually need to bring some expertise in? Look for people with the practical knowledge, and then you can actually upskill them in terms of bringing on their technical skills as well. It's an ever-evolving circle. Analytical skills, we'll come on to that, is something that is very, very much coming to the fore, and it's how to use that data. So that takes me very beautifully on to tip 4. Get your heads around big data. What is it? It is basically how to predict. It is to collect. It is how to analyse. But a massive part of it is the predictability that is now coming in with the very sophisticated software and applications that are out there. They're not that expensive. This is not a cost-prohibitive issue. But it's also getting the people in your organisation to understand that your business is data-driven. It takes out so much of that sentiment but I think it's this, that and the other. And by using the proper tools and the proper structured techniques, you actually get stuff out of this. So there's a lot of good stuff coming out of big data. We're moving forward. We do use data. We use balanced scorecards. We use demand planning and forecasting, etc. But what we're actually moving on to is predictive. Just think about Google Cars, the driverless car. These are the kind of things that are coming out of the use of data, which leads me beautifully into tip 5, innovation. Try, and try again. As a culture, we're very, very good at saying, we tried that, didn't work, let's move on to the next one. But you know something? The way to innovate is just keep trying. But you don't just have to look at the market and what's being driven out there. You've got some great people in your businesses that are touching and doing, who will have great ideas. Who, again, coming back to leadership, let's actually get some empowered people out there and let them bring forward the innovation for your businesses. Let's embrace this IR4 and bring it out to the people we've already got. Point number 6 is get to grips with your supply chain. Now, I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail of how IR4 is going to affect your supply chain, because the panel debate this afternoon is all about it, and I think you'll be very interested in some of the things that are actually happening on a global basis around that. Don't have to just look at your supply chain in terms of your part of it, but look at it end to end, right from your suppliers right through to your end customers. Really, really important that you get to grips with it so you can start to eliminate the waste and ensure you're looking in the right places to put that technology. And finally, bite-sized pieces. Rome wasn't built in a day at all, but you know something? It's sufficient and necessary. It's as simple as that. What does my business need to take me forward? Once you start to be really, really objective about what you really, really need, and not just because it's a fad or everybody's talking about it, do your research and identify where your weaknesses are, build on it. When you've got, something you're really, really good at it, just get better and better at it, improve that performance and that technology and that what you're doing in the business. It's bite-sized, don't have to eat an elephant, and just make it very, very real for your own business. And I think that's all from me for now. So I hope that's given you a little bit more of an idea as to how IR4 can impact you without me being an IT geek. So thank you very much for your time.